Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa, and I'm so excited to welcome to the show a true miracle worker herself, Sheevaun Moran. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I love it. We talk a lot about miracles are just glitches in your current belief system. When you talk about miracles, what does a miracle mean to you?
It's about taking all of the things that are outside of us that nature provides us, because nature is a miracle, and emulating that formula. But we forget to, when we get in the city, we forget to bring it into our own lives and our own businesses and our own practices and what we want to achieve or accomplish. And so you look at energy, and energy is something we breathe in, and that's a miracle. Like even every little moment of our day is something that is a miracle. An iPhone is a miracle. All of these things from the earth are now into this brick that we can talk to somebody on the other side of the planet. And before, you'd say in the 1600s, oh, that's a miracle. Well, it is. It's just, it's more provable now. So we just have more science behind it.
When was the first time you experienced a miracle in your own life?
Oh, so many times. But one of the ways that got me here was my husband died in a motorcycle accident. And I knew that that was his gift of a miracle to me. Even though it was painful, I called it the 10-year walking coma and so on. But I knew that that was a miracle gift so I could do what I do and take the world of what I know of the energy and the concept. Because I came from a computer programming background. So I have that little coding thing. And then I started to decode kind of life after he left.
So true.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. And I know that blessings come in really bizarre, twisted ways. So knowing his eternal nature. But it's interesting that you talk about the computer, because I use that analogy a lot working with subconscious work, that we basically are like upgrading the system, defragging, doing all that stuff. We have mental pictures that are constantly just like taking all of our energy because they're not neutralized. So tell us more. I think it's so fascinating, the computer and coding and how it relates to miracles. So tell us how you think of that.
So when I look at a problem in a business or a person's life, I kind of look at it as like a template. And, you can see energy, as you get more sensitive, as weird as that sounds, you can see it and so on and so forth. We can actually now take pictures of it, etc. But as we understand what is happening in that template, and there are certain hooks and opportunities that we either miss or bypass and say, no, that's not for me. And when it's kind of right in our face and it's hitting up against the head again and again, like, go here, do this, take that action, go get milk, and you don't drink milk, and then that's for somebody else. So there are all of these pieces to code, the way my brain thinks is in code. And so we have viruses, right? We have viruses in our brain, our conscious and our unconscious. We have them in our system. And it's like, well, where does that stop somebody in what they want to achieve or who they're here to be or how they're here, creating obstacles? And so let's defrag that. I like your word, defrag that. So what happens is like what I call is elegant code.
Ooh, I like that.
I'll buy that software any day. So you work with groups of women. You have seminars and conferences, correct? You're a very busy woman. We've been like backtracking with your assistant back and forth. She's a very busy woman. You've been doing this for quite some time. Tell us about your journey into becoming a leader in this work.
Reluctantly, of course. And the death of my husband, I got sick, misdiagnosed, nearly died. Was building companies, getting them sold. And I realized when I did this little trip to Base Camp Everest, used this mechanism I did to heal myself on this woman. And I thought, oh, I'm building companies, but this is way more important. And then I started translating that code into, well, how do I help somebody get out of pain? Stop the pain of everyone else. And so next thing you know, I'm teaching at colleges and I've got clinics and it just kept growing and writing books and audios, and I've got 3 companies and
You've created an empire of energy. So when I was looking at the website, you've got 5 energies listed for immediate success. Would you share a few of those with us right now?
Physical. So we have physical energy, and generally we think it's coffee or Red Bull or one of those funky things. And I heard you speaking earlier about our inner energy, right? You were talking about that and the Buddha and all of those things. And they brought those out and they used them in their cellular structure to live and operate, right? So that's physical. Mental, which is the code, right? Emotional, which is how do we interrelate and how do we get hooked into everybody else's problems or stories, or not. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever your spiritual is. Relational, how do you interrelate and how do you non-interrelate? Are you a vampire or are you an isolator? What do you do there? And the reward is always financial. And the financial just comes when those are in alignment. So I put them together for folks.
And what does it mean to be in alignment?
Did you ever have like your best day ever and you feel like it was your dress?
Yeah. I benchmark a certain Parisian look in New York, and I'm like, oh, take myself back to the sidewalk.
Or shoes, right?
Yeah.
And you feel like it's that, but it's really like everything's humming on all cylinders. And you can't help but be like, it's so yummy inside. And yet it's an energy. It's an inside energy. It's an outside energy and an inside energy, and they're vibrating together. And it's really hooking into I know what to do every time I'm out of alignment, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and financially. I know what action to take in order to get back into that. I call that midline. Left brain, right brain, but it's the midline.
So there's many modalities, of course. Most all spiritual practitioners teach meditation and mindfulness and visioning and their subconscious work. What are your actual modalities? How do you take your clients through the modalities?
I teach them how energy feels. I teach them that we're already interacting and interplaying with it at all levels. We just don't know the language of it. So you walk into a room and it feels really poopy. I call it poopy. And generally we say, that's me, something happened. And we actually take over responsibility for that when it's really the environment that we've walked into and we've adapted and adopted that. So how do you identify that? What do you do about that if you have to stay in it and you can't just scram the heck out of there? And so we teach cutting the cords, and I teach people how to get anchored in themselves, because you were talking earlier about trauma, and people hang out in their energy body and they don't get in here in their brain and connect and speak from their heart and their highest self, and they just hook into the trauma, and then they go back into that again and again, and I call that the abyss of stuckness. Right? So I teach people how energetics are what they live by and what they've been adapting to, and how to take that next, I call it an upward trending cycle, out of it.
Love it.
So it's stuff I developed.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, they're all different unique expressions of spiritual leaders, but they all lead to the same place, which is within and getting in flow with that divine source, for sure. It's such beautiful work that you do. Where do you do it?
Everywhere. But we just had a 3-day conference in Huntington Beach. Took people through some deep processes there. Southern California, I work with one-on-one. I have internet programs. Whatever anybody's willing to step in, one tiny step could make the difference and make that person whole and make them available to create their own miracle or miracles around them. And so we have little steps and bigger steps and bigger steps and bigger steps.
What would you tell the person who doesn't believe that miracles aren't going to work for them?
Cool. I'd say, great. Let's find what you really want, and let me show you a path. And then 9 times out of 10, only one time it didn't happen, but so that's pretty good. Over 30,000 people, I think that's pretty good. But if they don't believe in miracles, then I say exhale everything out and exhale and breathe in. And that's a miracle in itself, right? It really is the first miracle ever, is to breathe. It's an amazing thing.
So eloquently said.
So great. Well, it's important. I think there's such a time with all of us rising together. So thank you so much for your work. Beautiful.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Good morning, La La Land.